you'll see a difference. You'll see a difference in your productivity. You'll see a difference in your mindset, your mentality. When you get on social media, it's almost like you're being judged. Well, welcome back to the Move Podcast, motivating others virtually every day. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. I know we got a fantastic week ahead down here in sunny South Florida. It was chilly this morning when I woke up. When I went outside, I was like, whoa, looked at my phone and said it felt like it was 33. And I'm like, oh, this isn't okay. And it looked like it was pretty cold in most places. And we're supposed to be back up in the 80s by the end of this week, so we'll be fine. We just got to get through it. I think already today it's already warmed up into the 50s. So it'll be a chilly day today, but it'll be all right. So thanks for joining today. And hopefully you guys had like I said, had a wonderful weekend. And I know if you're a sports fan, it was an awesome weekend of football. We also have the national championship going on tonight between Miami and Indiana. And that just sounds weird to say, but we made it and we're here. So that's what we're going to do. And so one of the thing I really want to talk about today is, to put it frank, it's called mind your own business, but I think there's a little bit more to it. So something, as I've started getting around these successful people, one of the things I really noticed is they don't gossip. They don't care about other people's business. If it affects them, sure, they'll dabble in it. But if it doesn't really affect them, hey, thoughts and prayers, and they kind of keep it moving, right? I started thinking back to kind of where I came from and my journey, and how there was a time in my life where everything was a comparison. And it wasn't an open comparison, but you would do something, and the first thing you would do is you'd go to Facebook or you go to your social media and you'd post about it, right? Because you needed that justification, that satisfaction of posting it, then people liking it, people oohing and awing, people being jealous, whatever, and then that kind of carried you through. Then on the days you didn't have something to post or brag about, you kind of felt down in the dumps because you weren't getting that boost. I lived that life for, man, probably longer than I care to admit. Then, as I got older and I matured and I moved, and my friends group kind of changed, my career trajectory completely changed, my mentality changed. I started noticing things. And that's one of the biggest things I do notice is the successful people that I know, nobody gossips in that group. Nobody's making fun of anybody really in that group that I can think of or that I remember. If you see somebody struggling, we don't laugh, we don't criticize. If we can help, we help, and if we can't help, maybe we know somebody that can. We get them on the horn and see what we can't do. And that's the life that I choose to live. The people that are around me choose to live. But to think about how toxic it is to constantly compare your life to somebody else's life, or your dream versus somebody else's dream. And not everybody has the same goals and ambitions, right? One of my wife and I's biggest dreams was to go move in sunny South Florida. That was always been one of our big dreams. We came down here on a vacation and said, yes, one day. Fortunately for us, that one day happened, and we put it in motion, and here we are. But that's not everybody's dream. Some people want to live in the mountains. Some people want to live in a small town. Some people want to live wherever. Not everybody wants to go live in sunny South Florida. I think you're crazy if you don't want to, but not everybody wants to do that, and that's fine. When you compare yourself, what are you comparing? Apples to oranges. Because not everybody's life is the same. Everybody's life is different. And a lot of people down here that I know aren't from here. I know some people that are from around this area, but most of the people that I know are not from here. So I have something in common with them. Obviously, at some point in time, they, like me, took that leap of faith, bet on ourselves, and moved our families to an area where we knew nobody just because it was beautiful and it was paradise and we wanted to live down here. But the negativity that comes from comparing and the depression that can come from caring about what other people are doing, about what other people are thinking, about what other people are posting, about how many likes you have here, how many shares you have here, how many views you have over here. Like, I, it is extremely toxic. I do this stuff and I rarely check my numbers. I'm not doing it to become a Joe Rogan. I'm just not. If it leads me there, fantastic. If not, fantastic. I'm not doing it for that reason. I don't make money on any of my content. Okay? Like, that's not why I am here. I come here because I believe in the message that I'm sending. I believe some people / a lot of people could resonate if they took the time to listen, and maybe it can help them. That's why I do it. And so I don't compare myself to other content creators. I try to support them, right? I'm not in competition. I think a lot of us need to realize our only competition is yourself. Go look in the mirror. That is your only true competition. Every day in life is that person staring right at you in the mirror. That is your competition. Don't ever forget that. Stop comparing yourself. Stop posting all these things on social media just for clicks, just for likes, just for shares. Okay, now if you need to post something or you want to post something, get something off your chest, whatever, cool, do your thing. But don't do it with the intent of trying to get that dopamine hit. Most of you guys know, I'll just cover it really quick, but I think it was Ohio State University. It's probably been 10, 15 years now since they did this study. I can't remember exactly the year they did it, but anytime you post something on social media or anytime really your phone goes off for like a notification, like a message or anything like that, your body releases dopamine and you get like this little bit of a high. So over time, you become addicted to social media, to your phone, through dopamine. Because your body's no longer getting that dopamine hit if you're not getting the likes, the shares, the comments, whatever. And I think there are so many people that are completely addicted to that dopamine high that they get when their phone goes off. And we are at a point, it's not even that, when this whole thing first started, it used to be younger kids, texting and driving, texting in class, texting in this, whatever. It used to be younger generations. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter if you're 85 years old or if you're 15 years old. It's people of all ages, of all races, of all genders doing the same thing. If you just drive and you pay attention to other people, constantly talking on the phone, constantly texting, constantly scrolling, constantly looking or reading whatever they're doing with their phone. And it doesn't matter if they're a 60-year-old man, an 80-year-old woman, or a 16-year-old high school girl. It does not matter. So we can stop with the whole pointing to the younger generation, because I'm here to tell you this elderly generation is just as bad as this teenage generation when it comes to your cell phone behind the wheel. I see it all the time. I live in South Florida, home of snowbirds. I see these snowbirds constantly on their phone. It's like, come on, Susan, get off the phone and drive. Light is green, let's go. But on a real note, though, that's real. Okay, so we can stop acting like it's just the younger people, because we have old people doing this now too. But we have so many people just addicted to that dopamine hit. You got to get away from that. For me, I don't know if I was ever really addicted to the dopamine hit. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I don't really know. I can tell you, I feel like I wasn't, because I can literally just go quiet and not post anything and not get a single like or view and not care. I could just not get on there. I've done this multiple times in my life where it's like, you know what, I'm done with this for a while. Usually around like what's going on now in Minneapolis, this would be a time in the past where I'm like, hey, you know what, I'm done with that for now. And I would just shut it down and I would walk away for a while and not even open it, not scroll it. Because you see the same thing. Everybody's an expert now. Everybody knows everything about the law. Everybody knows everything about government. And it's just, it becomes to a point where I just laugh, because we have just so many experts on all these topics. So, if we were this smart all over the board, we wouldn't have these problems that we're in. So clearly we're not that bright. Maybe instead of voicing your opinion or voicing what you think should happen, maybe you should put your boots on, put your coat on, because it's very cold in Minneapolis right now. I looked, and go there your dang self and tell them to their face what they should and shouldn't be doing instead of hiding behind your little phone. Just food for thought. But this is normally the time where I would check out. But because I've committed to doing what I'm doing, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ignore it and just continue on. I have a lot of the things muted, or right, doesn't pop up on my time. I don't want to see it. Okay, but maybe for you, if you're watching and you feel like maybe your phone is part of your problem, maybe you spend too much time scrolling. Because even scrolling, there's some science behind this whole scrolling thing. I'm not really going to get into too much, but there's science behind both. And if you can't physically get yourself away from it on your own by yourself, willy nilly in it, set up a structure. I can be on my phone from this time to this time, and that's it. Or do away with it completely for a little while. Delete them all, and go without them. And you'll see a difference. You'll see a difference in your productivity. You'll see a difference in your mindset, your mentality. When you get on social media, it's almost like you're being judged, right? It's almost like there's that dynamic of, well, do they like it? Do they not like it? You'll post something and somebody will criticize, what you posted, how you posted it, whatever the case may be. And to get away from that, and to get out of that realm is extremely, extremely healthy. And so, I would recommend it. It's my own personal self. I've done it, like I've said, multiple times in my life, and it's always, I've never thought, man, I sure have missed social media, or man, I sure wish I wouldn't have quit social media. It's kind of like drinking. Ever since I quit drinking, I've never woke up in the morning and thought, man, I should have drank last night. Wish I would have drank last night. I've yet to wake up a single morning since I've stopped drinking and thought that to myself. Now, there have been times in the moment where I'm like, man, I would like to have a drink, or I would enjoy a beer, or whatever the case may be. But the next day, I've never regretted not doing it. And so, in those moments where a cold beer sounds fantastic, or a nice strong whiskey sounds fantastic, I remind myself, Steve, when you wake up tomorrow, you're not going to regret not doing this. So I just don't do it. Last thing I'm going to touch on is my take on Minneapolis, because I've had some messages on Instagram about this, about do a video. I want to hear your take. You don't want to hear my take, because I'm not going to be somebody that gets all rah about this stuff. I think what's going on is completely atrocious. I'm not. It's not even a matter of what side of the fence you're on at this point. It's just we're acting like a bunch of animals on both sides. And I sit here and I'm like, I don't have all the answers. I think I saw something the other day where there was a guy a civilian standing in his front yard with an AR-15, and it said our bunch of people in Minneapolis are getting armed and are prepared to. I'm like, man, that's not going to go well. Like, why? Like, going up against federal agents or police officers, that's not going to end well for you. I promise. Like, I don't know why people think, that's an intelligent idea. Like, that's not, like, we're not using any intelligence through this whole thing. We have no intelligence. All intelligence is out the window. We're operating on anger and rage. And it's sad to see. It is sad to see. But I'm a husband and a father. I'm not going to sit here and bury myself into something like this and get all worked up. And I'm living down in sunny South Florida. It's nothing like that here. People love each other here. People love this country here. People love this state here. And so, we don't have to deal with those types of situations and those problems. But, my heart goes out to those that are involved and trying to protect our country and protect our citizens. And I feel for each and every one of you. I feel for the residents of Minneapolis that have nothing to do with this. I do know people that live in Minneapolis, and I don't know how unsafe it truly is. Sometimes the news blows things up. I haven't really been able to make contact with those that live in Minneapolis, but I hope that they're well, they're safe, their families are safe, and I truly hope that the news is blowing this whole thing up and blowing it out of proportion for likes and clicks. And truly, in Minneapolis, it's not as bad as what it appears to be, but outside looking in, it looks like it's a complete mess. Newsflash: my son knows nothing about any of this stuff going on because a couple reasons: A, he doesn't need to know, and B, where do you even begin to explain it? Okay, like kids his age don't need to know about these types of situations right now. Now he needs to know about it here in the near future as he gets a little bit older, absolutely. But there's a time and a place. Part of raising our youth and trimming these people up to take over this wonderful country and this world is we've got to raise these kids the right way. We've got to introduce things to them in a certain order and a certain sequence. We got to make sure that their brains and their intelligence is at a certain level so that when we do deliver type information kind of like this, they're able to digest it, they're able to process it, right? We're not flooding them with death and fear and threats and tragedy at such a young age that it just kind of waters them down. Hopefully that makes sense. But, you know, as a parent, I don't feel like these are issues that you should really be discussing with your kids. And that's not sheltering your kids, so to speak. It's making sure that they're at an appropriate age to have these types of discussions when that time is right. They don't need to be blind to this stuff when they're 18, but there is a time and a place to kind of share this information with them, in my estimation. Back to Minneapolis. The biggest catastrophe over the whole thing, in my opinion, is how we literally have small government against big government. And when you have a democracy, you can't have that. People, the government, they've got to stay on the same page. And it's okay not to agree on everything, but we can't get to a point where we just refuse to work together. The relationship is so fractured that I don't even know the right answer. I hope they get it corrected. I hope they get it fixed. I would like to see this type of stuff come to an end sooner rather than later. Because at this point, we're just losing lives, American lives at this point for what? For what reason? So that's my take on Minneapolis. I just hope they get it figured out. Truly, it's sad. It's a complete tragedy that's even a thing. And Portland, there's certain cities across this country right now that are just a complete mess. And I pray for them every day. I truly do. I pray for them every day. I pray that they can find peace and find the truth, and these violent protests and violent riots will come to a screeching halt, and we can go on about our lives and live peacefully and happily, and we can start agreeing to disagree and quit being at each other's throats just because you don't see it a certain way, and let our law enforcement officers do what law enforcement officers do, and quit trying to act like we're the experts over them and we have jurisdiction over them. And I just long for those days, ladies and gentlemen. I long for those days. So, anyways, thank you for joining me today. I know it was a shorter episode. I got some stuff I got to attend to today, so I just want to jump in here real quick and get this shot and recorded. I'll try to get this edited by the end of the day and get it posted. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Please share this with your friends. If this is some content you think they would enjoy, I would appreciate it. And take care of yourself, take care of your family, be disciplined. God bless. Thank you.